Hey, Harry Potter fans! Peter Kenneth here. Welcome to the Potter Collector channel, where we are a community of collectors. Today we are talking about Harry Potter books, specifically a translation, specifically the Swedish translation. And I think it's quite possible that the Swedish translation covers are the most beautiful Harry Potter illustrated covers out of any Harry Potter book ever published. Now, you may disagree. You may think that a different cover art or translation or illustration is the most beautiful. And I want to know which one you think is the most beautiful. So let me know in a comment down below which cover artwork, whether it's the originals by Mary Grant-Pray or the original UK editions by Thomas Taylor, Cliff Wright, Giles Greenfield, and Jason Cockcroft, or a translation from another country. So if you didn't know, if you're new to hearing about Harry Potter translations, first of all, welcome to the craziness of Harry Potter translations, the world of Harry Potter translations. This room is filled with Harry Potter translations, over 2,000 different books. You're just seeing a very small portion of this room. But the world of Harry Potter translations is a blast because you get to experience and see how different cultures experience Harry Potter and how they interpret Harry Potter differently based on the cover artwork. Now, some translations use the US covers or the UK covers, but when you find those translations, like the Swedish books, for example, where they've created their own artwork for their language, for their country, it's really, really special and a fun thing to collect. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so let me know which translations you think are the most beautiful, and maybe you agree that Alvaro Tapia's interpretation of Harry Potter and what he did for the covers is the most beautiful. But we're going to take a look at the Swedish books, as well as really briefly look at some of the other editions that you can purchase in Swedish, as well as something that you may not know that I collect in addition to Harry Potter books, and that is original artwork from the illustrators. In this folder are preliminary sketches done by Alvaro before he finished the artwork for the books. So we're going to take a look at some of those and see where his brain went to kind of create and finish these covers. Now, I also want to mention to anyone who's new to translations that the official Potter Collector podcast, which is called Dialogue Alley, is all about Harry Potter books and translations. So if you're new to Harry Potter books, definitely check out Dialogue Alley. It's hosted by three of my friends, Carly, Mel, and Eric. I hop on the podcast as much as I can, but it's a great listen, especially if you're new to this or think you may want to start collecting Harry Potter books. So check the description down below. I will link the official Potter Collector podcast, Dialogue Alley, in the description down below. All right, guys, here we go. One of these in here is probably one of my top 3 favorite covers of all time. But we're starting with Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And actually, I'm already seeing stuff that it's... See, my brain, when I want to talk about Harry Potter books, my brain just goes a million miles an hour, as you're probably hearing. I want to just share everything that I'm seeing and all of the different things that I've experienced throughout the years collecting these books. So let me just tell you what I noticed first. So the first thing I noticed was I forgot that I had... Oh, I actually need to find the third book, unless the third book wasn't published with this pre-movie font. It may not have been printed with the pre-movie font. This may have been published after. Okay, so anyway, the pre-movie font. If you ever hear me say pre-movie font, that means any font where it says Harry Potter or the title before the movies came out. So we all know that Mary Grant-Pray, or maybe you didn't know that Mary Grant-Pray created that iconic Harry Potter font. Mary Grant-Pray is the illustrator of the US Harry Potter books. But that font that we see on all the US Harry Potter books, as well as the movie titles, was created by Mary Grant-Pray. So when I say something like pre-movie font, that is something that was published before the movies came out, and they kind of forced most things Harry Potter to have that font. But what I noticed was here on Philosopher's Stone and also Chamber of Secrets in Swedish, I have the pre-movie font edition. So these are just earlier printings, but that's kind of what I mean by pre-movie font. You can see there Chamber of Secrets also has that pre-movie font, and then Prisoner of Azkaban features that Harry Potter font that we all know. All right, let's get to the covers. Let's finally get to the covers themselves. Just holy moly cannoli when it comes to these covers. There's just so much whimsical magic exploding off of each one of these Swedish covers. So Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Octodie Vices Stein. I don't know if I said that correct, and that's going to be the only one that I try to pronounce of the different books. But look at the colors on this thing. absolutely beautiful painting. We see the Hogwarts Express in the background. Harry is kind of like floating in the wizarding world as he's entered the wizarding world kind of for the first time. Well, I guess not the first time, because Diagon Alley was kind of the first time that he entered the wizarding world. But Platform 9 3/4, that was like a whole nother realm of wizarding world as well. So he's just taking all of this in. Look at his face. Look at the pure awe on that face. There are owls swooping around everywhere, students and their parents all over the place on the platform, the Hogwarts Express in the background, beautiful bright red engine, which, I mean, kind of looks like an apple. I always think that that's like the Apple train. It looks like an apple, but there's something magical about that apple train. Love this cover. This is definitely an iconic Harry Potter translation cover, and kind of one of the ones that you think about if you talk about, you know, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone translations. Swedish is going to come to mind, German, Italian is going to come to mind, and rightfully so, because they're absolute perfection. Now, there are no internal illustrations inside of the books themselves, but on the back covers, there is some artwork in silver foiling. Is it all silver foiling, or does... I think they're all silver foiling, yeah. So they're all silver foiling, but there are like line drawings, which are really cool. So we have like some cauldrons and owls and just kind of magical things just on the back that flow into the whimsy of the front cover. So if we take a look at the back cover and then just move from the spine to the front, see how it's all connected there? It just connects to the front, which is such a cool feature. It's like the magic from the front is flowing to the back or something. So I love these covers. Let's move on to Chamber of Secrets, which is one of my top 3 favorite covers of all time. And actually my favorite Harry Potter book in general. Chamber of Secrets is my favorite Harry Potter book. But we see that just giant statue of Salazar Slytherin in the background. Harry is being carried on Fawkes the Phoenix, and then we've got some pixies, and I know like there weren't pixies in the Chamber of Secrets and everything, but the pixies, the blue of the pixies just add this nice color contrast, you know, especially the ones that are on top of or over Fawkes and Fawkes's red, orange, yellow feathers. And the other thing that you're going to notice as we go along with these books is Harry's kind of age progression, which we see on a lot of books, but I feel like Alvaro, the illustrator, did an incredible job with the age progression from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone all the way to Deathly Hallows. So just take this artwork in. Look at the flow of it, the balance of everything. I mean, I talk a lot about balance when it comes to like things in my life and things that I feel are beautiful. You know, if balance helps make something beautiful to me personally. And the balance of this illustration and artwork is just gorgeous. Look at the talons on Fawkes down there. It's just so cool. And then here is the back. We see some feathers, and the pesky pixies are trying to catch those feathers and kind of take a ride on Fawkes as well. Now, Alvaro signed all of these paintings, I'm pretty sure. So we see it on the bottom underneath the talons of Fawkes. Let me see if we can find it on Philosopher's Stone. I could have sworn that he hid his signature somewhere on all of these. Not seeing it. If you know where it is, leave a comment down below and let me know where he signed the Philosopher's Stone artwork. Next up is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which to me almost feels like a different style that he used. And maybe it was like a horror rendering of his artwork that kind of makes it look gritty-ish and not so much like a painting, almost like a digital art, because we don't see that on Goblet of Fire, and Prisoner of Azkaban is kind of the only one that we see that different art style, if that makes sense, or just kind of a lower quality scan of the artwork. Not a big deal though, a very beautiful piece. I love the pumpkin patch in here, the Dementors in the background, which kind of look like scarecrows almost, or like, you know, like in The Little Mermaid when Ariel goes into Ursula's, cave or house, and the mermaid plants are all like, don't go in there, Ariel. That's kind of what they look like to me personally. But then we have the moon there in the background, and then the Whomping Willow, as well as some pixies. And of course, Buckbeak swooping in. And some interesting like stone carvings, like hieroglyphics almost. There's like a cat, someone with a wand, and then like a person with a mustache, like a head with a mustache. Oh, there's his name. I found his name. There it is, hidden right there. But here is the back where we just see a bunch of vines twisting around, and then again just flowing onto that front cover. All right, next up is, I mean, this also could potentially be a favorite. There are so many beautiful Harry Potter translation covers, or just covers in general. I mean, the UK editions are gorgeous. The American ones are just iconic. I mean, that's what I grew up with. But I pulled up Goblet of Fire, which I love, 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 and it revealed Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which I kind of forgot about and until I just saw it, and that could also be a favorite. So there's so many beautiful covers. But let's talk about Goblet of Fire. We're not to Order of the Phoenix just yet. Goblet of Fire, I have the completed sketch before he went to do the painting. So I'll show you guys that at the end of all this, but it's a preliminary sketch of what he was going to do for the front cover. And here we have the trio, the Golden Trio. They look a little bit younger than 14 years old, personally, I think, but it's cool to have all three of them on the cover there. But also the thing about like Harry being so young is it kind of puts into perspective just how young Harry was when he was entered into, I don't want to say he entered because he didn't enter, but when he was entered into the Triwizard Tournament, and to think of like this young 14-year-old fighting dragons and, you know, swimming with mermaids, like not Ariel type mermaids, just like mermaid creatures, and then, you know, fighting Voldemort at the end. But anyway, we see the Golden Trio on the front cover, as well as the Hungarian Horntail in the background, spewing flames everywhere. Also in the background, we see the Dark Mark, and then some wizards running away from the Hungarian Horntail's flames. Just a beautiful, colorful, whimsical, again, painting that was used for this cover artwork. On the back, we have a giant cauldron. On the cauldron are like some carvings, like that could represent, you know, bringing Voldemort back to life or something. But a cool looking design. And right there is where he signed his name for Goblet of Fire. We have 3 more pieces of beautiful art. I'm going to call this art because it's art, but these covers to show you guys. Here is just, oof. I think the reason I love this one so much is because Thestrals and Hippogriffs, they're my favorite magical creatures. And his interpretation of a Thestral is just stunning. Like gorgeoisie, perfection. We've got the sunset in the background. Look at those colors. The purples and the orange and the reds and the yellows. And Harry is ready to go and save Sirius Black, his godfather. He is ready to take on Voldemort and his cronies to save his godfather. We see some Thestrals in the background, which are the big 6. The big 6? Yeah, I think the big 7 includes Draco, and Draco was not there. So yeah, so the golden and the silver trios. So the silver trio are Ginny, Neville, and Luna. So I guess it'd be like the big 6 are on their way to the Ministry of Magic, flying on Thestrals. It's just this cover gives you so much just like strength almost. You see the strength of these like brittle creatures almost. It just shows how strong they are with their wings and the hair flowing everywhere. But then Harry with his robe flying behind him and that expression of just he is determined to go and fight. Just a strong cover. This is such a strong cover to me. And then on the back, we see sketches of Thestrals. Now, I can technically say I own original cover artwork for the Swedish editions because I own the pencil sketch that was used to create this cover artwork on the back. And again, I'll show you that and kind of show you it next to the book. But I love that back cover artwork because again, it's Thestrals and I love Thestrals. Moving right along, we have Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And this is another just iconic scene from the books. Harry and Dumbledore in the boat, in the cave, searching for that Horcrux. Now, what I love about this cover is that they're obviously on top of water, but there's like a slight wave. So you know how, maybe you haven't seen it, but sometimes people will take pictures in a river where they'll put like a glass box or something and the camera's in the glass box so that you can see the water line, so you can see what's underneath the water as well as on top of the water. So it creates this really beautiful photo or picture and just image of, you know, what's above and what's below the water. We have that on this cover artwork. There's almost like a little wave, and like the camera that captured this is capturing the Inferi underneath the water, underneath what Harry and Dumbledore are currently sailing through. How cool and creepy is that? So cool. Love it. And then I see his signature right there, right above that water line. The boat is very interesting with some skulls and skeletons. There's some barnacles on the boat. And then on the back, we see some Inferi as well as Harry and Dumbledore on that boat getting ready to cross the lake. I think the only thing that could have made this a crazier or more beautiful cover would be if it was similar to Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, the UK editions, where it shows Harry and Dumbledore surrounded by fire. So if they were in the boat and Dumbledore was creating the fire and the Inferi were like, ah, you know, I think that would have been an incredible cover too. But this one is just, it has you on edge because you know what's underneath. They don't know what's underneath. Well, Dumbledore probably knows what's underneath, but Harry doesn't know what's underneath of the water. And it's like you almost want to be quiet as you're looking at this cover because you don't want to wake anything up. Last but not least is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, and the only book that we see with gold foiling and gold on the back as well. So I think I said at the beginning of the video that there are no books that have anything but silver, but Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows does have gold foiling. And actually I just noticed something I did not know before. Alvaro Tapia is not the only illustrator of this book. It was also illustrated by Peter Bergting. So both Alvaro and Peter did this illustration. I'm not sure who did what, but we see Harry Potter just kind of surrounded by images of death. So it's kind of a foreshadowing of his death almost, with goblins and skeletons and snakes and just kind of death. He's surrounded by death, which is crazy. I don't know if that's the correct interpretation of this, but that's kind of what I feel when I look at this and knowing the story. And then we see the Deathly Hallows symbol at the bottom of that swirl of deathly creatures. And Harry's face is kind of like, okay, he knows what he has to do and he's going to go and he's going to do it. And then on the back, we see a bunch of magical creatures as well as the statues at Hogwarts. There are some Patronuses on here. Just kind of this is the Battle of Hogwarts back here. So we're seeing the Battle of Hogwarts on the back cover. So those are the original Swedish editions and covers by Alvaro Tapia as well as Peter Bergting, which I learned that today, so that's fun. I learned something new today as well. Let me quickly show you some of the other editions in Swedish that you can find. For example, there's a 3-book box set that features, and I think mine are missing the dust jackets, which is unfortunate. The books just feature a cloth spine and then the artwork without any title or anything on the book itself, which is super nice. So you can see the artwork nice and clearly, and they come with some prints. So it's just a really cool little special edition set. There are also adult editions of the Swedish books, and they feature the adult edition cover artwork for the UK books. So if you know this artwork, these were also published in the adult editions. Just the first 4 books though. And most recently, the Swedish books were released with the Pottermore covers. So if you know the Pottermore covers or Pottermore artwork, the Swedish books are the only books currently to feature that artwork. So I won't show you all 7, but this is the artwork I'm talking about. We've talked a lot about artwork. Let's dive into the Alvaro Tapia artwork. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. I didn't realize I had that too. Oh my goodness. I thought it was just Goblet of Fire. I have the completed preliminary sketch of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone as well. Holy moly cannoli. Like his final sketch before doing the painting. So, all right, let's start with Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. So let me remind you of what that looks like. That is this cover artwork right here. These are some preliminary sketches that he did. So just some quick ideas. So there's Harry with Hedwig and the train in the background. And then these next 2 are of the Hogwarts Express. So coming up with the idea of what the Express is going to look like. I think this one's probably first because this one looks a little more detailed. We've got this big boy right here, which kind of shows, you know, the process of creating the Hogwarts Express. And then this one, it's a little more fleshed out. And I don't know what the Swedish words say, so if you can read Swedish and translate that for us, that would be really, really cool. But that is the last of the preliminary sketches for the first book until, wow. So I have a lot of Harry Potter stuff, guys. These stay in my vault, my Gringotts vault. It's guarded by dragons, a dragon more fierce than the one on this cover. So I sometimes forget what I have until I pull it out and get to see it again. This is the preliminary sketch before he created the painting for the front cover. And here's a side-by-side comparison of the 2. That is way cool. Way cool. All right, next up we have Goblet of Fire, and then I will save that Order of the Phoenix artwork for last. But here is the Goblet of Fire preliminary sketch. So this is kind of him creating ideas about what he may want the artwork to look like. So we see a larger dark mark in the background, the dragon. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the finished piece versus this preliminary piece. And then this is the sketch that he did before doing the painting. And obviously eliminated a couple of things. Oh, interesting. I wonder why he got rid of that. There are chains on the dragon. So the wizards who are falling down and running away in this artwork are the wizards who are trying to contain the dragon. So see that? They're holding chains and there's a chain around its neck. But here is one of, if not the final sketch that he did before doing this painting. So beautiful. And last but not least is that Thestral sketch, which is actually at 100%. So this was copied and put right onto the book itself. So it wasn't scaled down at all, which is fun. But there it is. This is the artwork that we see on the back of this book. So those, in my opinion, are probably the most beautiful published Harry Potter books. And when I say beautiful, I'm talking about the cover artwork. There are plenty of other beautiful editions, leather-bound editions and cloth-bound, and the Mina Lima books. But when it comes to illustration on a book, an original Harry Potter book, I think the most beautiful award goes to Swedish. Once again, let me know what you think is the most beautiful illustration or edition, and it may very well be these. If you have any questions about Harry Potter or collecting, feel free to leave a comment down below. You can also join the Potter Collector community on Instagram at The Potter Collector, on Twitter, now known as X at Potter Collector, or on Discord. The official Potter Collector Discord is linked down below. Now it's time to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, keep collecting. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're new here, welcome. We cover all things Harry Potter on the Potter Collector channel, like books, merchandise reviews, unboxings, Wizarding World of Harry Potter videos, and more. If you would like to subscribe, you can click right here. You can also check out a previously posted video right around here. If you have any questions about Harry Potter, feel free to leave a comment down below. I am happy to help. But for now, I must go. We'll see you next time.
Whoa, where'd he go?